Welcome everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer and I am back again with messages for the week of November 24th, which will include Thanksgiving here in North America. So wishing you all a happy holiday season, and we're going to break it down and see how the energy will be on Thursday because as usual, we have a lot of intensity in the sky. And so thank you for tuning in and joining along with me as we discuss the energy in this week. Now, if you're hearing this or coming across my video, that means it's meant for you because I do not promote my content. I just let it go where it is meant to go. So if you're finding this, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, making comments, and sharing the content with other people so that the information gets out to anybody who is, of course, meant to hear it. You also want to go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. There you get access to, of course, all of the previous recordings that I've done for this year, along with access to my daily messages. So I pull a tarot card every day, give you, of course, the message of the card, and sprinkle in a little bit of the astrology of the day that supports that card message as well. And you'll have access to all of my written content out there. I do a monthly horoscope, I do a new moon, and I do a full moon. I do a weekly update. So I've got all kinds of free resources out there for you. And if you need a little extra help to get through this holiday season, if you find it stressful, I have lots of hypnosis sessions out there that will help you completely and fully relax. All right, I think that's enough prep. We are going to use, of course, the Astrologer software, which you can download and put on your phone for a really reasonable price. No, I don't get anything for promoting that. Just know that it's a nice way to have a little astrology helper in your pocket. And of course, you'll need to know your birth date information, time, location, in order to create your own birth chart. And these messages, of course, are general. If you want to know specifically what's coming up, especially next week's very intense, very fated full moon in the sign of Gemini, then you might want to consider trying to squeeze in a session with me before the holidays. And it is a good time to already start thinking about 2026. So that content is going to be out there shortly as well. I always create a worksheet for you that you can fill out based on your charts. You know where all the activities are going. I will put out a 2026 preview video soon where you can start to, again, look at where all the major players will be next year. It's a 1 year, so it's really important to get ready for new beginnings and know that these last few weeks, literally, we're down to the last 6 weeks of this year, will be intense because the endings, the things that are meant to be done, they have to be done. This is a 9-year. It's time for conclusions and wrapping up storylines, and so the intensity will pick up. Wherever we have a story that's still going on and that we haven't finished the lesson with yet, we're going to get a little nudge from the universe to get it finished. So anyway, all of that to say, we have, as usual, an intense Monday. I do not know why. Monday is ruled by the moon. So each day of the week has a planet aligned to it. And Monday is the moon. And Monday is a very emotional day. It has been for the past several months. And you could say that's because the moon is really trying to ignite our emotional responses to what's going on so that we don't act like a dead fish and that nothing bothers us and that we just keep turning a blind eye or we keep wearing rose-colored glasses. Things are escalating to get your attention somewhere in your life if you've been doing those things that I just mentioned. If instead you're one of those people who's been aligned, who's been listening to the universe, who's been in the flow, then you use these intense Mondays as a kickoff for the week to get things going, to take action. And so let's start talking about what action is needed as we start here on Monday, November the 24th. So 2 things to note, and if you've listened to me last week, you heard me talking about these as well. But today there is fated changes that are happening in the area where you have the Sagittarius Mars energy interacting in a square with the north and the south node. So Mars is action. Sagittarius is taking action. Maybe we'll have action overseas. There could be some war activities going on, and they're meant to bring big changes because Mars is action and squares mean a change in direction. So there's something that we're attacking. It could be knowledge, it could be information, foreign people, foreign places. So I do expect Monday to be a rather volatile day. But the events are fated. They need to happen so change can happen. And when we have the north and the south node being activated by Mars, this is a change in direction that is fated. The north node is where we're meant to be heading, right? This spiritual purpose, this connection to spirit, this connection to feeling and healing and art, right? Music, beauty, all these things that fall under the purview of the sign of Pisces. And then Virgo, where things are very controlled and organized and have to fit into the box and you have to have a process. There's too much control and we need to have more faith, which is the Pisces. So you need to figure out, how do I have enough detail but still leave it up to faith, right? Whatever's meant to be will be. I trust the process. And so there is something, this energy with Mars in the Jupiter-ruled sign of Sagittarius says that our value systems are not aligned with our greater purpose. Something needs to shift and change in a pretty big dramatic way because Mars is not subtle. Mars is a fire sign. It's in a fellow fire sign, Sagittarius. So it's very amped up on Monday to create some very significant change. So that's why I think Monday will be maybe eye-opening for some. We also see Mercury is starting to make it back to the last few degrees of its retrograde journey. And as it does, it is coming back to speak with Venus. So Mercury, information, communication, children, the community, movement, and women are joining hands to bring up and share a story from the past. So I would imagine in here, the America, right? North America, I should say, the USA, we are having all kinds of conversations about the Epstein files and everything it means. So there's something that is coming up today, right? This whole time that we've had the sun who finished its time in the sign of Scorpio is now shining a light in Sagittarius. It was bringing up all kinds of secrets, right? What we needed to know, what we needed to understand. We got the bill passed as a result of the sun's time in Scorpio and Mercury's time in Scorpio. So now it's the women's time to share their secrets, to share their stories. And there is something that is meant to be shared. And by sharing it, there will be movement forward, because over these next several days, as Venus moves forward, she is speaking in harmony with Jupiter, which of course is retrograde, has been since 11/11, and is also speaking in harmony with Saturn. And this planet is also slowing down and getting ready to end its retrograde journey. So we are ready for some storylines to be concluded in a pretty big way. And as they conclude, because of the nature of this grand water trine, it's a big opportunity for some emotional closure, for some healing, for some structure, for some consequences if you haven't been following the rules. Because that's what Saturn does. Saturn goes retrograde and says, all right, I'm going to give you this time to go within, to clean up your act, to follow the rules. And if you don't, you will notice it. And if you do, you will notice it in a positive way. So we are entering into this energy that happens to fall into place right here around Thanksgiving. So I expect this to be an intense week because of all the activation that is going on at this time. We got fate activated. Saturn is also karma activated. Venus and Mercury activating the things that we see as a part of our day-to-day life. So Monday is going to be really extraordinary is what I think. And because Mercury is retrograde and because you're traveling, some of you, for the Thanksgiving holiday, give yourself a lot of extra time. Be patient. Make sure you have in the carry-on bag everything critical that you need for the holiday, like those recipes. And just, like I said, be very patient because of the fact that Mercury will be slowing down to end its retrograde right around the holiday. That means the Mercury energy is very convoluted and a little crazy making, and it can create accidents if you try to rush. So just know, this week, just take your time, slow down, because Mercury is really going to be spitting the energy out as it tries to come and turn the corner. And it puts a lot of energy, a lot of information, a lot of craziness out as it's making that turn. Also, the information, Mercury retrograde, speaking in conjunct to Chiron retrograde, again, it brings information to the surface about somebody that hurt you, somebody that has caused you pain. But the information comes out from maybe an unusual source or in an unusual way, because Chiron is in conjunct, or what we call quincunx, both that Mercury and Venus energy as they come together. Now, Chiron is always meant to help you heal, but you have to truly see and understand your wound. And to heal, most often, you need to help somebody else, make some kind of sacrifice. And when you make that sacrifice, that's when the healing will happen. So again, my guess is there's some woman that maybe we have not heard from yet that is a part of this big storyline. And when she tells her story, things may move in a new direction. I have lots of thoughts on that, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. All right, let's move ahead to Tuesday, the 25th. And you will notice here on Tuesday, not a lot of shifting and changing. Mercury will have passed Venus. Venus, of course, is moving forward. And as Venus continues to move forward, there's going to be more power poured into this very beneficial grand water trine that is showing up for us. Today we will see this moon in Aquarius speaking in harmony with that sun in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, an area where we experience growth and expansion. It's also joy. It's fun. It's traveling. It's adventure. So from the dark days of Scorpio, we move into this fun, fiery, passionate, adventurous energy of Sagittarius. And today, as the sun speaks in harmony with the moon that's speaking, closely with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, there is a chance that you will be really successful when you join with others, right? When you are connected with others that share your feelings. That's especially true if these are groups of people that are working to create change and transformation. This can also be a foreign leader that is working with a powerful group of people to conquer something or someone. And so there's some level of success achieved on this day. Now, this is brief, right? The moon moves fairly quickly. The sun's already been speaking in harmony with Pluto over these last several days since last weekend, right? Now's the time where we see, the new power structure starting to unfold and show us a better way forward. I hear, of course, the song Kumbaya, right, in my head when we think about Aquarius and we the people energy. So there is still this energy of change with Mars, but it's almost as if whatever we've seen, whatever we've tackled, now we are on the same page. So when our ego self, the sun, and our emotional self, the moon, are working in harmony, we feel whole, and it's easier to take action and bring change as we feel whole ourselves. And so we may feel really good, very confident as we move into Tuesday. And so this is a good day to take bigger steps towards the things that you want to change, what you want to experience in the new year. Start taking more steps, because as soon as Mercury finishes this retrograde on the 29th, then it is time to start moving things slowly forward. And today might be a day where you start to put one of those pieces in the place that it's going to be. But again, just take it slow. Then we move into Wednesday. And on Wednesday, this is the day where Venus is fully activating this grand water trine. So these are 3 water signs: Mercury, Pisces, Cancer. That's what makes it a grand water trine. The trines, of course, are the blue lines. These are all 120 degrees away from one another. But what they create is this triangle of opportunity, like the fulcrum, right, of the teeter-totter. You can't have movement without the base. So this is the base. This is what you're going to launch your big idea from, your big opportunity from, this base. And again, you can just sit there and look at the teeter-totter, and it won't do you any good, or you can take action. You can trust your intuition. You can get in touch with your feelings. You can have more faith, because both that Pisces energy and Jupiter are all about faith. And then that Scorpio energy is all about an intense experience of your feelings as well. So this has continually been activated. We've had Mars come through here. We've had the sun come through here. We had Mercury go through here, forward, backwards, and it will come through forward again, along with Saturn moving forward again. And though Jupiter is retrograde, Jupiter's reminding us what matters, why family matters, why taking care of families matter. And Saturn gives you the plan. Mercury gives you all the little details for what you need to do going forward. So something's unfolding. And today, as I mentioned, Venus, although she doesn't love being in Scorpio, she still has power. And so it is women who understand the power that they hold and are going to use it and leverage it in some way on Wednesday that could be rather remarkable. All right, as we move ahead, it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Now, as I mentioned, Mercury likes to mess things up. So even as you are cooking today, give yourself a lot of extra time. Check your ingredients 2-3 times. Just be prepared for things to get a little crazy, and definitely make sure you have gone shopping early so that nothing is suddenly out of stock that you need, because this is just a little chaos maker. Mercury slowing down to end its retrograde today. It's just gonna make things harder. It also can make it harder to understand each other. It can create arguments. So just don't participate. Don't give in to your triggers on this day, and you will feel much better for it. Because at the same time that we have this Mercury energy slowing down to end its retrograde, we have the even bigger energy of Saturn slowing down. So you can be and feel very restricted during the holiday because of rules and older people. So like I said, just give yourself plenty of time to navigate the holiday. And if you end up having to stay home, just make the best of it. This everything that happens is happening for a reason right now. We have to trust the process, and the story is still unfolding. So whatever you had happen to you or around you at that new moon in Scorpio, remember, we're in that 2-week window of all of that unfolding for us. And it unfolds differently as soon as Mercury, that was Kazemi at the new moon last week, slows down and then starts moving forward. Then we get to see things more clearly. Right now, things are still a little fuzzy. And so be patient. Don't overreact. Don't get overly upset. There is much more to see. Like the Department of Education, a very Jupiter topic, trying to unwind things. Don't get Twitter-pated about all of that. There is plenty of time for things to change. And usually, when people get up in arms about things, this administration backtracks and backpedals very quickly. And the court system, also a Jupiter-ruled energy, has been taking some broad strokes to try to help. So just be patient through this process until we start seeing Saturn moving forward and Mercury moving forward. Nothing's settled yet. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. Just a little, simple energy for the day. All right. And then we move ahead to Friday, where it's Black Friday, right? We're shopping like crazy, although the Black Friday stuff all started the week before because of the fact that Thanksgiving is so late. However, for those of you that have a wonderful tradition of going Black Friday shopping, have fun, enjoy, take your time, don't rush, because of course this is when Mercury is completely slowing down. It's reached the furthest point, and then it will start moving forward again. So, like I said, just be patient. And if you think you missed out on something, you haven't. It just, like I said, things will unfold as they are meant to. And maybe that thing you thought you couldn't get will suddenly come back in stock and become available for you. And as I mentioned, this is when we now see Saturn is direct. So has it been a tough 3 years? Yes. I would say a resounding yes. And that's the whole time that Saturn has been in the sign of Pisces. Holding us accountable, pushing us to have faith, pushing us to have good, healthy boundaries. And so now's the test. So I always say there's a test, right? By the energy, by these planets' energy. Did you go within? Did you do the work while the planet was retrograde? And if so, proving yourself is what you will be doing between now and next February, I think, when we have the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in Aries and a whole new chapter begins. So these are the months where you're proving yourself, where you're showing what you have learned. And when you do that, we have this big rewarding opportunity that will come to us. So we'll have one last activation of this grand water trine as Mercury comes forward and meets one last time. This is it. This is the final show, the final opportunity that this grand water trine will have for us. Now, Saturn and Jupiter still speak in harmony for a little bit longer, which is helpful, especially with Saturn moving forward with the rules, with the instructions of what we should do and what we should take advantage of. But it's the details, the information, the story that Mercury exposes during this final connection in December that we want to be paying close attention to. Don't miss it. Take off the rose-colored glasses and do as you are being instructed. And then Saturn is very rewarding. I know, hard to believe, but that's what Saturn wants. It wants you to follow the rules, follow its instructions, do as you've been guided, and then big changes are possible. And so we start to feel into that energy as Saturn has slowed down to go direct on Friday. All right, big days. Next, we have Saturday. And here, again, nothing major, just Mercury is done with its last retrograde, thank God. So now, as I mentioned, this is when everything gets stirred up. This is when everything that we've been contemplating over the last 3 weeks comes to the surface, and now we have to do something about it, right? So I always imagine Mercury like a scuba diver underneath the dark, deep waters, down there for 3 weeks, stirring things up, finding things, hunting for treasures, and all of that stuff now floats to the surface for the next 3 weeks. So we have the time in Scorpio, and then of course we'll have the last few days where Mercury's in the sign of Sagittarius again, where things are really taking off. So things will start slowly with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio, but by the time it gets into the sign of Sagittarius, things are really going to pick up and changes are going to be happening extremely swiftly. So be prepared. Get your holiday shopping done early. I cannot stress that enough. Just get it done. Maybe you knock it all out today on your Black Friday shopping. Just be done. It'll be helpful. All right. The other thing we have today is that moon, which loves being in the sign of Pisces, has that conversation with Saturn, right? Saturn gives, I think, the moon instructions. And as the moon heads off with those instructions, it is what we need to listen to as far as our intuition goes, our dreams, to guide us on the opportunities that are headed our way and what we need to do. So that is Saturday. And then little old Venus here, finishing up her time, her test from the time in the sign of Scorpio. It's going to, again, Venus doesn't like it here. It's too much intensity. She's going to much more enjoy moving into the sign of Sagittarius. And that is what Sunday brings us. So on Sunday, throughout the day, Venus will transition out of the sign of Scorpio and into the sign of Sagittarius. But of course, anytime we hit 29 degrees of any of these signs, there's an intensity, there's a test. Have you noticed anything emotionally that's been testing you since we have Neptune, which will literally stay at 29 degrees the entirety of this retrograde? And then when it moves forward, it's going to move forward with Saturn's help. They will both move into the sign of Aries and stay there. And as they do, that creates a 30-year cycle. That's about how long it takes Saturn to come back around. And of course, when Saturn comes back around 30 years from now, Neptune will already be gone. So this is a complete shift. Of course, it happens in 2026 when we have a new year, but there can be some clues about what last work you need to do in this 9-year with those healthy boundaries, with your dreams, that will set you up for next year and the big shifts that are coming. So this opportunity, because it's a trine between Venus at the last degree of Scorpio, speaking in harmony with Neptune specifically, what is it that you've been dreaming about? Well, now it's time to do something about it. What have you been so afraid of? And what are you not seeing clearly? All of those kinds of topics are coming up today. And then it will be like a breath of fresh air when Venus moves into the sign of Sagittarius, and that intensity, that heaviness that comes with Scorpio will start to lighten up a bit. But we have a little bit more time with that Mercury energy in Scorpio, and then things will really begin to feel lighter, which of course is right around Christmas, which makes sense. All right. That is Sunday. And then next week, we're going to have a full moon in the sign of Gemini. I'm going to move this forward close so you can see it. That this this moon in Gemini will be at 13 degrees. The sun's going to be at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, and the nodes are at 13 degrees. This creates a grand mutable cross, which invites change. Big, fated change. So whatever began at the new moon in Scorpio, this is a very dramatic ending to that new beginning. Whatever is in the way of what you need to be able to start over, it will be gone at this time. And change comes in, very quickly. So this is all about information and details and knowledge and our mindset and fate with the North and South node, the future and the past coming together to help us achieve this major goal. And we'll, of course, want to come back together next week and break it all down by sign and talk about this in detail, because that's going to be the biggest activity that is going on. It's Thursday, December the 4th, where all of this energy comes together, this opportunity to heal. So lots to talk about next week. So be sure you have liked this video, save it so that you know to come back, subscribe to my channel, and definitely go out to my website, because I already have the month of December, the monthly horoscopes out there. So is the new moon and full moon. So you can get a heads up. You can be starting now to prepare for where this pressure is going to be in your chart. And if you have personal planets at 13 degrees in these signs specifically, you will not want to miss it, because it is going to be life-changing in some way for you as a result of all of this pressure. Now, a grand cross, which is 4 planets in square to each other equally, creates like a diamond of pressure. But from the pressure, if you don't collapse, comes the diamond. So don't be afraid of the pressure. You got to feel into it and change. Get on the path that you're meant to be on, which is what the nodes are trying to teach us. Let go of these controlling behaviors, needing to know all of the answers right now, and instead get in alignment, have faith, trust the process, and then this big full moon in Gemini is going to open your mind. So, all right, exciting stuff. It's always exciting. That's what I keep saying. And I look forward to talking with you all next week. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, free of any mishaps, and really just share joy with one another. All right. Thank you, everybody. And I will talk with you next week. Take care.